Rain tapped softly against the windows of a small roadside hotel as a tired waiter wiped down the last table of the night. He was poor, overworked, and invisible to most people who walked through the door. But that night, 2 starving children walked in, their clothes soaked and their eyes filled with fear. The man didn't know it yet, but the small act of kindness he showed them would change his life forever. 22 years later, when a shining Rolls-Royce stopped in front of that same old hotel, the entire town would discover a secret that would leave everyone speechless. But before we reveal what happened, make sure you like this video and subscribe to Shadow Tales for more unforgettable stories of kindness, mystery, and life-changing moments. Now, let's begin the story. The small roadside hotel sat quietly on the edge of town, its faded sign flickering under the dim yellow streetlight. Inside, Marcus Johnson moved slowly between the tables, collecting empty plates and wiping away the day's mess. Marcus was known by everyone in the neighborhood as the quiet black waiter who never complained. Life had not been easy for him. He worked double shifts every day just to pay rent for his tiny apartment and send a little money to his aging mother. That night, the storm outside grew stronger. Thunder rolled across the sky while rain poured heavily onto the streets. Business had been slow, and the manager had already warned Marcus that food waste would come out of his paycheck. Marcus sighed as he stacked the last dishes, preparing to close the restaurant. Then the door slowly creaked open. 2 children stepped inside, a boy who looked about 10 and a younger girl who held tightly onto his arm. Their clothes were soaked from the rain, their shoes muddy, and their faces pale with hunger. The boy glanced around nervously while the girl stared at the plates of food left on nearby tables. Marcus immediately noticed them. He walked over gently. "Hey there," he said softly. "Are you two okay?" The boy hesitated before answering. We're just looking for somewhere warm." Marcus could see the truth in their eyes. They weren't just cold. They were starving. He looked toward the kitchen where the manager's office light was still on. If the manager saw them eating without paying, Marcus would likely lose his job. And losing his job meant losing everything. For a moment, Marcus stood there silently, torn between fear and compassion. Then he made his choice. "Sit down," Marcus whispered, guiding them to a corner booth. "I'll bring you something." The children looked at him in disbelief. Marcus hurried to the kitchen and quietly prepared 2 plates: hot soup, fresh bread, and leftover chicken from the dinner rush. He placed the plates in front of them. "Eat slowly," he said with a warm smile. The little girl's eyes filled with tears as she took her first bite. The boy tried to stay strong, but Marcus could see his hands trembling as he ate. For the next 15 minutes, the only sound in the restaurant was the quiet clinking of spoons against bowls. When they finished, the boy reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, crumpled coin. "It's all we have," he said quietly. Marcus gently closed the boy's hand around the coin. "Keep it," he said. "You'll need it more than I do." The children thanked him again and again before disappearing back into the stormy night. Marcus never even learned their names. But as he locked the restaurant door that night, he had no idea that this simple act of kindness had just planted a seed, one that would grow quietly for 22 years. 22 years passed like a turning page in a long book. The small roadside hotel still stood in the same place, though time had worn it down. The paint had faded, the sign flickered even more weakly, and the neighborhood around it had changed. Marcus Johnson had grown older too. His hair had turned gray, and the long hours of work had curved his shoulders slightly forward. Yet he still worked at the same hotel, still wearing the same simple uniform, still greeting customers with the same quiet kindness. Most people barely noticed him anymore. To them, Marcus was just a waiter who had always been there. But one sunny afternoon, something unusual happened. A sleek black Rolls-Royce slowly turned onto the dusty road and stopped directly in front of the hotel. People nearby stared in disbelief. Cars like that never came to this part of town. The polished metal gleamed under the sunlight like something from another world. Inside the hotel, Marcus was pouring coffee for a regular customer when he noticed everyone looking outside. Curious, he stepped toward the window. His eyes widened. The Rolls-Royce door opened, and a tall man in an elegant suit stepped out. On the other side, a young woman wearing a graceful white dress followed him. Both looked confident, successful, and strangely emotional as they stared at the old building. The man slowly walked toward the entrance. The door opened. The restaurant fell silent as he stepped inside. His eyes scanned the room until they finally landed on Marcus. For a moment, no one spoke. Then the man smiled. "Excuse me," he said gently. "Are you Marcus Johnson?" Marcus nodded, confused. "Yes, that's me." The man's voice trembled slightly as he continued. 22 years ago, during a stormy night, 2 hungry children came into this restaurant. Marcus froze. "You gave them soup and bread," the man said. "And when they tried to pay you with a single coin, you told them to keep it." The entire restaurant watched as Marcus slowly remembered that long-forgotten night. The man's eyes filled with tears. "I was that boy," he said softly. "And this is my sister." The young woman stepped forward, smiling warmly. "You didn't just feed us that night," she said. "You gave us hope." The man reached into his pocket and placed a set of keys on the table. "We searched for you for years," he continued. "Today we finally found you." Marcus looked down at the keys to the Rolls-Royce parked outside. "But that wasn't all. We also bought this hotel," the man said with a smile. "And from today, it belongs to you." Marcus's hands trembled as tears rolled down his face. A small act of kindness, returned after 22 years in a way he never imagined. Because sometimes the good you do for strangers travels through time, until the day it finds its way back to you. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Shadow Tales for more powerful stories that remind us how kindness can change the world.